This is Ben Friedman here from Ben and Bran See a Movie, and I just wanted to give you guys an update about today's show, which is in regards to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. First, thank you for checking this episode out. I hope you do enjoy it. Please note that there's just been some issues that I've had while trying to launch the video podcast form, and one of those was that StreamYards is just, it's a learning curve for me. So I've had some issues doing that, and that means some inconsistency in audio. I don't know exactly what happened. The audio, when we did the test, sounded great. It wasn't going to be an issue. It all worked out. And then when we did the final recording, it had this weird echo to it that I've been trying to fix for a few days in post-production. And I was able to reduce the echo a little bit, so it's much more pleasing to listen to, but it's still a little rough. So I do apologize for that. As the weeks go on, it should get fixed, and I have some ways that I'm going to implement to at least ensure that I always have a good audio file ready to go in case this ever does happen again. So again, apologies to everyone listening who just has to put up with this audio. It is what it is, and hope you enjoy this episode of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Hello, my name is Ben Friedman here from Ben and Bran See a Movie, and here on this channel we support women's rights, but most importantly, we do support women's wrongs.
I really love being called someone's mom. That's like a thing I didn't know about, but I'm called it a lot. I don't know at what point this started happening. I'd love for someone to teach me evolution.
Welcome to the show. All right, my name is Ben Friedman here from the show, Ben and Bran See a Movie. We're talking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Branson's still out. He'll be back soon enough. We'll have updates on that in the next few weeks. I have been talking to him. We are working on something. But yes, in the meantime, I wanted to do the show as normal. I also wanted to do my spoiler review of Doctor Strange. I decided, why not just fold the shoe? So we're going to do the episode of the podcast and technically review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So this counts as my spoiler review. So I'm double dipping a little bit. But I didn't want to do this alone because that's really boring for an hour. So I decided to bring on my friend Tony Monti to join me today on the show. And Tony, welcome on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
First time doing this intro, I'm sure.
First time.
There was no edits.
First take. Yeah.
Done this perfectly on first take.
Yeah.
Did not accidentally mute me again,
No,
like we did last week. Tony, you're a Marvel guy.
Yes,
You're a movie guy.
Yep.
I just want to hear, first, what's your earliest memory, watching movies?
Oh gosh, I think I'd have to. We would have family nights every Sunday night, sometimes during the week, and I think my earliest recollection of watching movies was the Hidalgo movie. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Mm.
It was it had the actor that played Aegon in Lord of the Rings.
Is that
I can't remember his name.
He's the king, right?
Yeah, the king. Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yes, something like that. It was a really good movie, and I remember at the very end, I was super young, so I cried to it, and I was I remember this was such a good movie.
Is it an interview?
No.
Oh,
it's like a horse racing movie.
Oh yeah. I do have big recollection of that movie. I don't know if I ever saw it.
It was really good. All the horse scenes and all that stuff was really cool. I think that's the earliest movie that I recollection. Yeah. And I know me and my sister every Saturday would watch movies and cartoons all day long. So definitely just got into movies real quick. My dad was really big into movies, so I just started watching them, and then I remember seeing Iron Man 1 in theaters.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, I literally, I was my dad was wow, this looks really cool. It's got Robert Downey Jr. I'm all right, let's go see it. And I saw it in theaters. Don't really remember it, but the one I do remember, the earliest Marvel movie I remember watching in theaters was Iron Man 3. So I think I saw all three, but I don't remember the first two because I was still too young. Mm-hmm. But then I remember watching Iron Man 3, and I keep all my ticket stubs.
So do I. Yeah.
So I have all of them. Yeah, I have all of them from Marvel, but I also have all of them from the movies that I really liked too. Mm. But I remember I have the Iron Man 3 one from I don't even remember what year it came out.
2013. I wonder if I still have that movie stuff because I saw it at Greenback.
Yeah. I think I saw it in Bellagio.
Yeah, the first one I remember seeing in theater for MCU was Avengers. I remember clearly going to the theater
Yeah.
because I'm a few years older than you, so I'm a little older when that first Avenger movie comes out. So I remember seeing that, and I think since then I've basically seen everyone in theater. Minus, I know I didn't see Thor: The Dark World in theater, and I did not see Black Widow in theater. Everything else, I did see. I definitely saw that on Disney Plus. Yeah, I'm just like COVID, all that. Just didn't want to go see the movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, with that all said, like, do you watch movies a ton? Like, still, like, do you go out pretty regularly to the theaters to see?
Oh yeah. I mean, I go all the time. I got the movie club membership for Cinemark, so I have it too. Yeah, I go all the time. Like, it saves me money. But yeah, I watch movies all the time. I watch TV shows all the time. I still have to go see The Northman. I know I saw. I saw your review on it with Chris, and I was like, I need to go see it.
That movie's awesome.
Because I just finished watching the show Vikings, and that's such a good show, and it's literally like the same thing. Viking show, like movie. So, I need to go see that. But
what's your favorite movie so far this year? Because I have a few that I'm like, I've been pretty surprised this year. Where I'm like, we're getting a lot of good ones really early on.
I say number one's gotta be Morbius. No,
it's more time.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
I did too.
Dude, I saw that Thursday. Yeah, exactly.
We talked about it. I remember. It's like when we first met, we were talking like, I saw Morbius this weekend.
I saw Morbius this weekend. It was
not so good. Yeah, dude. When he appears in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and he's like, "I'm going to suck your blood." I was like, damn.
Oh my god.
What a movie.
What a movie. Gosh, I gotta remember like what movies came out this year and what came out in December, because December is a giant movie month.
Yeah.
It's like they always come out during Christmas. But oh gosh, what's your like top movie of the year?
So my favorite movie of the year right now is a movie called The Fallout, which came out on HBO Max. Which is like a dramatic one about a school shooting. I reviewed it on this channel. That's definitely been my favorite. I think second right now, I think I have The Batman. I think is my number 2 right now.
That's definitely.
And then I think I have Everything Everywhere All at Once is my number 3 right now.
I'd have to put Batman top 3, definitely.
Yeah, I was so impressed by that movie.
Yeah, that was such a good movie.
I think that's where that's my 3 right now.
Yeah. I've got to say, like, Batman was definitely top 3. Shows too, like I know Disney Plus doing shows and stuff too. Those are
because you finished Moon Knight, right?
Oh yeah, that's fire. It's so good.
Yeah, I finished Moon Knight Saturday.
Yeah, that's when I finished it too. But oh my gosh, it was such a good show, and they're just
I know.
Pumping them out. Like,
I mean, we have Miss Marvel
in
June.
Oh,
I think it's like June 12th or something.
Yeah.
Which I'm just like, I feel like I'm one of the few like really excited for that one.
Yeah.
I actually, did you play the Avengers game?
I didn't, but I've watched people play it.
So you know the story. I liked the story, and I liked her in it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's pretty, like at least like characterization looks like it's pretty close one.
Gonna be a good one.
So I'm definitely pretty excited. About that sort of changing your life a little bit. With that all said, we're gonna just jump into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In case you haven't realized it, and I mean, I spoiled the thing at the beginning of this intro, so hopefully you realize I'm talking a spoiler discussion of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Spoilers are for your game. I don't care. I'm spoiling the heck out of this movie, but just in case you need it, you're an audio listener, you didn't quite get that from the opening. We're talking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness spoilers. So we're going to talk everything about that. And if you don't want this movie spoiled, pause it, come back after you see the movie. Otherwise, it's fair game. So with that all said, we're talking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I'll just kind of give a brief history of this movie real quick for those who don't know it. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the sequel to the 2016 film Doctor Strange, which is directed by horror director Scott Derrickson. Very well received movie. It introduces Benedict Cumberbatch that appears in multiple MCU installments, including Thor Ragnarok, both the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. Then most recently, No Way Home. It also continues on the storyline set up in the TV show WandaVision, the first real movie to continue the story that we've seen in the TV show. So what happens to Scarlet Witch in that show directly impacts it. I said in my spoiler-free review last week, you need to see WandaVision to understand what's going on in this film. It's very essential. You do not understand this movie if you don't. But anyway, there was an issue with that. It just sounds like Scott Derrickson had a different version of this movie that he didn't quite agree with what they were willing to do. So he stuck around as producer. They hired Sam Raimi. You don't know who Sam Raimi is? He directed the first 3 Spider-Man installments with Tobey Maguire. He comes back, and then this sets up a huge amount of online speculation. The guy who directed Tobey Maguire is back on, and Tobey Maguire just appeared in Spider-Man No Way Home. Is there a connection? What's going on? All that stuff. So that came out. Then there was there was all this news because originally Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you don't know, was supposed to come out before Spider-Man No Way Home. They then decided to do Spider-Man No Way Home, push it earlier. Doctor Strange comes out later. All this. So this is all going on. And we start hearing rumors about this movie, who's in this movie, and it becomes a speculation of who's going to be in this movie, and that kind of dominates the talk about it. We first see the first trailer for this movie. I'm sure you saw it, right? Spider-Man No Way Home at the very end. They give us a full 2.5-minute trailer, which is like, I'm actually more fun with them debuting a trailer at the end of the movie, like we've never seen that. Just getting a 10-second tease. That strange trailer was just like, oh my god, this is happening. So we're getting all that. We hear the Super Bowl trailer. We then hear the voice of Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. Draws even more speculation. Who's going to be in this movie? Movie debuts about a week and a half ago to the general critic audience. We start hearing things about it. Horror film. Wanda steals the film, and that it's going to be a divisive film. Generally, I would say they've been pretty spot on. I would say this is a horror film, or at least horror vibes. I would say Elizabeth Olsen steals the show. And I would say this is so far supposedly just been a pretty divisive movie. I've had friends who've seen it who love it, had friends who liked it. I've had friends who full on hate this movie. So with that all said, that just kind of frames our discussion. Come back to both of us. Tony,
Yes.
what was your anticipation going into the multiverse of madness?
Oh gosh, I think all the speculation about who's going to be in this movie, like obviously you knew, WandaVision or Wanda was going to be in it from the trailer and even all the speculations, but gosh, I mean there were so many teases about the Fantastic Four appearing, the X-Men making going, and even like people like that we didn't see in the movie like Iron Man and
Yeah,
gosh, who else?
I have a list
Oh, you have a list.
of
Okay.
every comprehensive what's it called? Spoiler
Oh, really?
that
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard rumored. I'm going to share the screen real quick. Thank you to the person on Reddit that was on a site called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness Roundup of Leaks and Rumors. So they cite everything.
Oh,
So
geez.
they cite like this is where that rumor stemmed from. I tried pulling the ones that actually have like what's it called? I tried pulling the ones that essentially had like maybe more validity or had been reported on, or
Yeah.
people were just talking about. So I
Yeah.
wasn't doing the ones where it's like this doesn't seem to carry any precedent. I did
Yeah.
try focusing on the ones where it's like, all right, this made headlines with
Yeah.
some reputable sources, or maybe not so reputable sources, but it got spread around online. Some of them they were right. I have to give credit to like this like Random Wire. They nailed it. They said Black Bolt was in the movie.
That's crazy.
They said Reed Richards. They had heard rumors that John Krasinski had been cast and would be in this film. They nailed it in some senses.
Yeah.
Other places start going a little haywire. I'll read them from. I'm going to say least crazy to most crazy. So there's some ones that I think people might have been expecting.
Mhm.
Loki makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense.
Where the show ends.
Yeah.
So Loki makes sense. We had heard Tobey Maguire.
Mhm.
I had heard Tobey Maguire
Yeah,
was in this
I agree
movie.
with you.
So kind of makes sense with the Raimi connection. It seems a
Yep.
little weird, but there's a future for that.
Yep.
Definitely when they start teasing the Illuminati. I know he's not originally a member, but you're just like, okay, he could be in this. Agatha Harkness makes sense because again the connection to WandaVision character could easily appear. Evan Peters is Quicksilver again.
Yeah.
Explanatory. We have some. We start going a little bit crazier, so I'll just start reading off some of the ones that are listed here on again this subreddit, which I'll kind of scroll down as I'm talking. Tom Cruise as Superior Tony Stark. Did you hear that one?
I definitely heard that one.
I never believed it for a second, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way Tom Cruise is okay not promoting this movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a cameo in this movie as a character I was supposed to play, because I don't know if you know the history with him.
Yeah, he didn't even.
He was supposed to be Iron Man. That was who the studio wanted originally before they went Robert Downey Jr. So fans are like, that was like one that I heard, and even going into the movie, I'm like, I don't think this is possible.
Yeah.
But are we actually going to see it?
Not in this movie, but I wouldn't be crazy to see it eventually.
Yeah,
the whole multiverse thing, you know.
Yeah, I was just like, are we doing it? And here's some of the other ones that I had heard. Deadpool was one I had heard like crazy.
Yeah,
weeks before, and I'm just like, I mean, that one starts getting a little bit more like okay, this wouldn't be a surprise because we know Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. It's not like they're showing us who the actor is Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like maybe a post-credit. That's where I was thinking, like, if we see Deadpool, he's not in the movie, he's a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Like, something like that. So he was one that I'm just like, maybe he appears. I still was kind of like, I feel like Deadpool appearing, like, Marvel would want to make sure that's, like, clear. Like, come see the movie because Ryan Reynolds
is going to make some jokes.
Yeah. This is where the list starts getting all over the place. The Eternals were at one point rumored. I don't know how the heck they could fit into this movie. Yeah. That's a weird one. But again, I heard it. I had heard the character Baldur the Brave, which sure. Hugh Jackman reprising the role as Logan was one. Yeah. I'm sure we all heard. Really didn't believe it. I figured he was done with Logan, so I just didn't see him coming back. So that was one I never really gave validity to. I already mentioned Tobey Maguire. Somebody reported that he was going to. This movie was going to set up Spider-Man 4 with Tobey.
Okay.
Like the continuation to the Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, that's a lot, but sure.
Yeah, right.
Magneto was one. I will admit, full admission going into the movie, watching the movie, the fact that Wanda is Magneto's daughter. Yeah. I did kind of actually suspect that. I'm like, okay, maybe they're in this movie.
Yeah.
So that was the one where I'm like, okay, we're gonna actually get it. Let me share this picture because I thought this picture was really funny. Someone made a mock-up of all the characters who are rumored to appear in it. I'll do it. Sir, I'll get this out. Share screen. Share. There we go. There's mock-up. Oops. Let me get that a little bigger. But yeah, so there were some other ones. There's some crazy ones. This was one of my favorite. Cyclops. James Marsden returning as Cyclops. Halle Berry returning as Storm. I'm like, okay, so they're just really teasing the return of every.
I was gonna say they want all the X-Men.
All the X-Men, original X-Men. Eric Bana as Hulk, and Edward Norton.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, just Hulkiverse.
I think at this point they just wanted like everyone to be in this movie.
Yes. I'll say we're getting to some of my favorite Mephisto, because whenever a Marvel project is teased, Mephisto has to be the character.
Yep.
We thought he was going to appear in WandaVision. He did it.
Yeah.
Here was one. Okay, this one's a fine one.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider.
That's a good one.
I was on YouTube like the week before this movie came out, right when like there was this huge leak on the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, like spoilers, like, and I had accidentally clicked something, and it was like the headline was like 10 hours ago. Wanda fights Ghost Rider.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, no, I didn't want that story.
Dang it!
I'm like, oh my god, we're actually going to get Nicolas Cage or like Ghost Rider in this movie.
Wait, what?
So that was the one I was fully going into the movie. I'm like, oh my god, Nicolas Cage is going to be somewhere in this movie. This is crazy.
You would have had 2 movies in theaters.
I know. I was just like, oh my god, good for him. But no, that was ended up being fake.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, because he was supposed to be Marvel was trying to cast him as Doctor Strange for the original movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they were talking about him coming back. So I'm like, okay, maybe. Didn't particularly believe it, but I mean, could have happened. Here's my favorite one. Here's legitimately my favorite one. Leonardo Dicaprio was one that was reported on.
Nice.
For
what?
Spider-Man.
Oh wow, I didn't know. I knew he was reported, but I didn't know like for what.
He was the studio's first choice before Toby.
Oh,
so they were like, oh, maybe it'd be a fun night. That one I never believed.
Yeah.
Never believed.
Yeah, that's a read. I've never heard the DiCaprio one.
Yeah, DiCaprio was one I had heard.
That's crazy.
Ash Williams, which I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't know.
That is Bruce Campbell's character from the Evil Dead franchise.
Okay.
Bruce Campbell then appears in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He's the pizza vendor.
Oh,
Who's punching himself.
that makes sense.
But yeah, so people were like, oh, maybe because they were thinking Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
So I had seen this tweet that went out. Maybe I'll post it if I can find it again.
Yeah.
Where they were like 50,000 retweets. Like, isn't it crazy that Ash Williams could appear in Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, I got the cursed hand joke.
Yeah.
Evil Dead, but I didn't think
Yeah. Wesley Snipes played.
Nice.
Because never believed it. I'm like, if we're seeing Blade, we're seeing Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
And then finally, this one was one where I'm just like, okay, what is this one? Because I didn't know what to make of this. Ian Grufford, who plays Mr. Fantastic in the first, like the ones with
Jessica Alba.
And all that. Chris Evans.
Yeah.
That was the other one where they were like, okay, we're not hearing Krasinski, we're actually hearing this.
I actually like that.
I like him too. I actually thought he was a really good Doctor Strange.
You mean Fantastic?
Sorry, Mr. Fantastic. I thought he was really good in this movie. Just bad.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he looked exactly like
he totally did. Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic. So those are all the rumors we heard going into that.
Yeah.
Which sets up this interesting thing because fan precedent, you can't meet that.
Yeah.
It would have been impossible.
Literally impossible.
Like this was Avengers Endgame level, like cast through like working on this, and there was just no way that you were going to meet that, and that made for an interesting precedent that you set. And it was actually kind of brilliant. I think Marvel intentionally leaked some stuff themselves, where they were like, "I bet you anything." Some of them ones with Tom Cruise. I bet somebody asked somebody at Marvel, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then it's basically. Because their leaks were that, I found this article in February. It broke down basically most of the major parts of the plot. Yeah. Where it was just like, but then they had a bunch of stuff in there like, oh, like Tom Cruise could be in there.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, now it's like impossible to actually discern what's real or what's fake. So it's like, okay, you do have your leaks going out there. Might as well put a bunch of other crap in there just so no one knows exactly what this movie's going to be.
And it's interesting because, like, you can think about it as like, Top Gun Maverick comes out, so Tom Cruise is starring in that. If you rumor Tom Cruise in a movie where his other movie is coming out like in the same time frame within the next 6 months, that gets that same popular name out there when he's already in another movie. So you're like, oh my god, Tom Cruise. Same with like Nicolas Cage. Like,
it's just you put it in the zeitgeist, and if they appear all of a sudden in your box office, it's a much better holding the next week. It's like everyone didn't see it first weekend. Yeah, but they're going to see it second weekend because it's like Tom Cruise is in this movie, Nick Cage is in this movie. Yeah, but it just, like I said, it did set up this pretty crazy precedent for this movie where there were people going into this movie, I feel like, expecting the world. And the most interesting thing, and this will be my hill to die on, I think the thing that I found most impressive about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is, yes, well, they do dive into some crazy concepts, go out there and some ideas. Obviously, the multiverse cloud and all that. But they do all that. This is a really self-contained story about Doctor Strange, kind of dealing with who he is as a person and learning to make basically a human connection, something that he's been struggling to do all of his life due to grief. That's what I found really impressive about this movie. It's a Doctor Strange movie through and through. What about you? What's your hill?
Honestly, I was thinking about this, and like, I'm thinking like watching the movie again last night, realizing how obviously Wong is Universal Spring. Like, he took it from Doctor Strange when Doctor Strange was dusted for 5 years. He didn't take it, but exactly. But I'm just thinking like now that Wong is like obviously Wong is an important character. Doctor Strange the first one, but like I think that his character is way more important now that like he's the Sorcerer Supreme, and Doctor Strange is now giving him that all of his credit for it. I really think he's a way more important character than we realize. And even when Wanda dropped him off the cliff when she was trying to find the book, he obviously didn't die, and then he came back, and then now he's. So I think Wong is a way more important character than we think, and I think that he's gonna have a way bigger impact in the future. Just because like you obviously see him as like one of those side characters in one of those old movies, and now he's a little bit more important. And now I think he's gonna. Because they could have easily chucked him off the cliff and he didn't survive.
I was wondering, there were a few points in the movie where I'm like, Wong's a gunner.
Exactly. And he was even in Shang-Chi too. Yeah. So
he's been like he's in like 8 Marvel movies.
He is in
9.
Yeah.
Just like there's Doctor Strange, then both Avengers.
Yes.
And then Shang-Chi.
And he's Spider-Man too, right?
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Obviously this movie. Don't even have to mention the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm at like 7 or 8 already, and I feel like there's one that I'm missing somewhere in there.
Yeah.
He's been like kind of this. I really like this character. I really like this actor portraying this character. So I've been impressed with him. I have this segment where I just kind of ask quick piece questions, and it's a yes or no. So without thinking about it, just gut reaction. Was Sam Raimi a better fit than Scott Derrickson to direct Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Okay. Was John Krasinski the right choice for Mr. Fantastic?
Yes.
Is Elizabeth Olsen the MVP of this movie?
Yes.
Okay. Those are my 3 questions for you. So let's just kind of break down the first one. I feel like it's the most obvious one.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Okay.
She's incredible.
She's literally the movie.
This could have been called Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness. And I think it totally would have been fine. It's totally deserving. She steals this movie in every scene. What she's asked to do is pretty hard.
Yeah.
I guess a follow-up to this question that I want to ask.
Okay.
Is Elizabeth Olsen, is the Scarlet Witch story where you wanted to see Scarlet Witch go? Because that's been a point of contention for some people. Some people have been pretty annoyed that they kind of took the Daenerys route.
Yeah, they did take the Daenerys. That's crazy. I didn't think of that. Oh gosh, I want to say yes and no, because yes, they showed off a lot of her power and how she could easily wipe out the Illuminati like that. Because obviously with those scenes, you're like, nah, these characters aren't dying. Like that's not gonna happen. Because in Marvel movies, they don't really kill off the main characters. And if they do, it's like a big dramatic thing right at the end of the movie or something. But I think I'm gonna say yes and no, like I said, but because I feel like they should have like had it going a little longer. Because we watched WandaVision at the beginning of last year, right? Was that when it came out?
2021.
2021.
Beginning of 2021.
Yeah. And we had Scarlet Witch for that show, at the end of that show at least. And then this movie, and then now, I don't know, she's presumably dead. Obviously, for this version of her dead. So,
yeah, I don't think she's dead.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They would have shown it.
Exactly.
If you don't see the body, exactly.
Yep.
If you don't see the body, it's not.
Yeah.
She's not.
So I think like if she was really dead, then it was too quick. I think we got her for like half like a movie and a little bit of a show. But at the same time, we did get her as we got Scarlet Witch, which was insane. She showed off her powers, so I'm gonna say a little bit yes and no.
I think I'm kind of in the same boat. So let me just say, I don't necessarily like that they went the villain route with Wanda.
That's true.
I liked her more as like kind of the hero that just has to kind of keep proving herself, and just despite all the tragedy, she still ends up doing the right thing, which I guess is ultimately kind of what happens at the end of this movie. The reason it didn't bother me though is because I've read the comics, and I knew House of M is a really big point, and like Wanda, does end up just killing basically a ton of the MCU or Marvel characters in the issues, like. So I think it was more of just like I knew that was going to happen, so it wasn't even like a disappointed thing where it's like personally I don't think that would have been the storyline that I necessarily cared about seeing, but knowing that was probably most likely gonna be what happened, I kind of was just accepting going into the movie. I kind of went into the movie thinking like she's probably the big villain. We haven't seen the villain yet in this trailer, so that's where I was just like it was good for me, and she pulls it off so excellently. the scene where there's one scene that's so creepy, and it's where she first goes back to Billy and Tommy's their house, and she's possessing the other version of Wanda, and it's like cutting to her, and then you see the eyes like change, and she looks directly into the camera, like making eye contact with us. And it's just a quick fourth wall break, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty creepy. There's some really creepy stuff she does in this movie, and just like there's some emotionally devastating scenes. The scene at the end where she sees her kid scared of her, devastating. Like when she's playing with like Wanda, she's playing both Wanda and the Scarlet Witch and all that. It's just really well done, and she pulls off the villain aspects really well. You believe her as the most powerful woman who can just destroy the multiverse.
Yeah. I think one of the scenes that really stood out to me real quick was the one where she was like reaching through, like they were trying to cover all the puddles of water.
Yeah, and she like
reached through the.
They do like the ring thing with her, where she just like
she's like cracking the
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was when I was like, this movie's gonna get scary.
Yeah,
like, the amount of jump scares and the amount of like, oh my gosh, it was good.
She does that thing really early on in the movie where they do the evil villain monologue.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that can kind of come off as a little cliche at times.
Yeah.
The line where she's like, me sending these demons after her, that's me showing mercy.
Yeah.
Just like, you're just like, whoa. And like when she fully embraces the Scarlet Witch of herself, it's like pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Like she's legitimately a pretty terrifying, convincing villain. It's pretty shocking to me that she's one of my probably favorite heroes in the MCU. And she also just, in this movie alone, top 5 villains in the MCU. I put her right up there with Thanos, Killmonger, all of them. Like she really delivers in this movie in a way that I knew. Obviously, she was a really talented actress. Didn't know she could quite deliver in this fashion. So I was pretty impressed with her. Sam Raimi, better fit than Scott Derrickson. So you like this movie more than you like the first Doctor Strange? Is that fair to say?
I would say yes. I would say the first Doctor Strange really set up how, like, why everyone would love Doctor Strange, and the visuals in that movie were really good. I think they did more. The only thing I wish they had done more, they did do the mirror dimension really well when they trapped her in it, and then obviously she had to crawl out. The mirror dimension like made the first Doctor Strange.
It's the best sequence.
Oh my gosh!
When you first go into it,
exactly, and they do it so many times.
I saw that movie first time in IMAX, 3D.
Yeah.
So the mirror dimension was like, I always remember seeing that movie, and I compare it to like seeing Avatar for the first time. Where it's just like 3D wise, I don't think you could have done a film better than that.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I saw it.
Oh, it looks so cool.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, that was one that I was just like, I totally agree with you. Here's the thing that I said in my first review of the film. I said Sam Raimi's direction is really noticeable.
Yeah.
Like, really noticeable in this film. And at the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. No, I don't know if I didn't like it, but I was like, this is kind of tonally just a departure, and kind of just feels weird compared to everything else. Like, it's weird where it's like, this is so episodic, or something just stands out, and it's so blatantly stands out, where it's just like, what is this almost? Like, it just feels so totally different. Second time I watched it, though, I liked it a lot more. There's that one scene. It was that one scene that I put out that I couldn't talk about in my non-spoiler review. It's the scene that could have just been a dialogue dump for one of the characters, June Force character, where it's just like him explaining how the dream walking works, where it's just like, and you get this shot of this, like, it's Doctor Strange, and then it fades to Wanda, and then it fades back to Gisela before, then it fades to Chavez, then it cuts back to like the time walking, and then back to Strange, the candles, all this. Like, just these weird fade in and out, all kind of focused around Wanda, and it ends with the line like, you're not going to be facing demons, you'll be facing the Scarlet Witch next to Danny Elfman's score the whole time going on. I was just like, first time I watched it, I'm like, that is really noticeable direction. Like, it's really like blatantly in your face, not subtle. Second time I watched it, I'm like, yeah, well, they have to explain dream walking. You explain it in a really visually interesting way, doing that. And I'm like, okay, I like it much more than I thought. And that was kind of my whole point upon rewatch. Did you find this when you rewatched it? first time I watched it, I'm like, this movie is really fast paced. It's a little confusing. Second time I watched it, I'm like, okay, this story is actually pretty simple.
Yeah.
And it's paced pretty quickly, but it never feels like it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
That's how I felt the second time watching it.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I was literally sitting next to Rosie too, and like right when the movie started, they were already running through the what's the called?
Oh,
At the end or the middle of the.
yeah.
They were literally just started out running through it and like being chased by the demon. And I was like, oh my god, they're starting already. Like, okay. Like normally it's like, Marvel logo, like seeing out, like blah blah. But like literally just right off the bat they were running through the dimension. I was like, wow, this is going.
Yeah, there's no waste of time in this
No
movie.
waste of time. And it's only 2 hours, like a little
It's
bit 2 hours.
really like if you don't stay for the post credit scene, which after this first time seeing it, I don't typically stay.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like an hour and 55 minutes. It's
Yeah.
really quick. I was like, there was like a scene where we finally get into the multiverse. I'm like, wait a second, Strange is about to get knocked out because of the T, and he's going to go to the Illuminati. Like that's about to happen. Like,
Yeah.
I'm only like an hour into this movie. Like
Yeah.
this movie feels like it's actually starting to. We're getting to like the big part of this movie and then wrapping up, and I'm just like, okay, like this movie isn't as like. I think first time watching it, it's just so overwhelming and it's so fast paced and it doesn't really leave you a second to breathe.
Yeah.
It's kind of reminded me, and this is not in a negative way, even though I talk about this in a negative way. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker,
Right.
where that movie just starts off and it is action packed from the beginning to the end. It's never boring.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same way I would describe this movie. It's never boring. I just think the story is much more satisfying. And it's much easier to follow.
Yeah. I agree.
So that was the interesting thing. Like I said, when we're watching this movie, I'm just like, wow, they're just scene to scene to scene. Like there is not one scene that really doesn't have action in it.
Yeah.
For more than like 2 minutes.
I agree.
It's just boom, 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 boom. And if you like that, you're gonna like this movie.
100%.
If you want a little bit slowed down, a little bit more like character-driven story, it's not going to fully give you those moments. It's the character dynamics happen mainly in action. Yeah. And like you gotta embrace that for this movie. And it's not gonna be for everybody.
Yeah.
Straight up is not gonna be for everybody style. But I liked it, and I found it much easier the second time to follow along. Like the second time, I'm like, okay, this movie is just keep away from one.
Yeah.
And it's just traveling through the multiverse.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of multiverse travel in the movie. Like, I think we really only we spend time really only in like 3 multiverses, I think.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the first scene, which is an incredible scene, where they're going through every multiverse, you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, just visually, that is astounding.
Yeah.
The animated one, the pink one, just all of it. You're just like, this is pretty incredible.
Dude, the animated one, when they were playing that X-Men theme when they were going through.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's like crazy.
Yeah, all of it just worked.
Yeah.
Here's the big question, and I texted you yesterday that this might be a point of contention.
Yeah.
Is John Krasinski well cast, Mr. Fantastic?
All right, so this is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking that this has been speculating for what, 2 years?
Maybe longer.
Literally, yeah.
I think he was first asked about it.
Is it literally?
Around Quiet Place.
Yeah.
The
First one. Okay.
2018.
So what I'm thinking is because it's the multiverse madness, and because it's going to go into so many multiverses, so many different versions of every character, I think this was a fan play out. I think this was everyone wanted this so badly, and he was down to do it, that they decided to do this right off the jump. But when they make the Fantastic Four movie or show or however, whatever direction they go, it won't be him, obviously, because he's dead, technically.
Oh, you don't think it's him?
See, here's the thing.
I think it's him.
You think it's him?
Yeah, because we just saw him killed out in a multiverse.
That
but
is
like
true.
we didn't see him killed out on like the MCU 616.
I think it could be that it's either one or two things. It's either him and he just died in a version of the multiverse, or this was a fan play out that they wanted, that every fan wanted, and they're just casting him to
For
be
the
in this
nod.
movie for the exactly. And then when they make the movie or the show, then they recast all 4 of them.
Okay, interesting. I totally thought differently.
Really?
I thought it was acknowledging like, yeah, he's our Mr.
They
Fantastic.
could. I really wish.
Here's what I heard, and I teased this when I was on air with Rosie last week, and then I decided not to say it in case I sounded dumb.
Okay.
I had heard for years now. Because I had someone working at Hollywood, just worked on the sets of some of the MCU movies, knows people who've worked on it,
Right.
all that, without revealing their names. That'd be really stupid of me.
Yeah.
They had told me John Krasinski was in this film.
Really?
They had told me point blank, like, you will see him as Mr. Fantastic in this movie.
That's awesome.
I then contacted them semi-recently, within the past, since sometime in 2022, also, asking them, are these rumors valid? Like you're saying they're valid. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing rumors that, like, what's going on, basically, like, because I heard that he wanted to direct the Fantastic Four, was what I was hearing too, all that stuff. They told me, and I will say this one, they could not confirm. Okay. They're just like, this is like straight up, it's probably only Feige and a few other people who had known.
Right.
They were hearing, and the reason I'm reporting on this is because they did tell me something else really important. They told me John Watts had exited the movie, that he wasn't going to be the director. Yeah. They told me this, I think, about a month before the news actually broke.
That's crazy.
That he wasn't going to be the director.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm like, okay. And then I asked them just point blank, like, is that because John Krasinski is directing this movie? Mm-hmm. And they said that's the general belief, but it's not actually, like, no. So I don't know if, like, what is known. Like, there's probably people, and again, my person's, like, kind of plugged in, but also, like, they just kind of work in the movie industry in general, so it's not like they're perfectly plugged in. So I don't report to me because they just don't know everything perfectly, and they're hearing based on other stats, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I did hear John Krasinski was going to be in this movie, and I've heard the general belief is John Watts stepped down and John Krasinski is planning to direct.
I love that.
Here's the interesting thing. I don't know if I like it.
You don't think so?
I don't know yet. He's kind of. I said I had an issue with this film, and it's the Illuminati scene. Mm-hmm. Like, just cut away everything. Seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, Wanda killing the Illuminati. Mm-hmm. Really cool sequence. Really cool to see Charles Xavier back. Shocking to see Black Bolt back. Like, that was the thing that most shocked me.
Yeah.
All of that. Then I thought about it a little bit more, and then I'm just like, sometimes I do worry, like, is the most inspired casting kind of the most uninspired casting? Where it's like, oh yeah, of course, because he looks exactly like the comic books.
Yeah.
Straight up. With the beard, he looks straight up like he's pulled from Jonathan Hickman's run. Then I'm just like, okay, but that doesn't necessarily make anything exciting. And just because he looks it doesn't mean he should act it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is this MCU? Is this kind of the studio head just being like, oh yeah, we're going to listen to the fans, like,
literally,
like, this is who we're casting. It's the interesting thing with it where I just say, like, I'm not sure if I'm on board with also the fact that I only saw him on screen for like 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So it's also hard for me to say he's a fantastic. He's a fantastic. It's also hard for me to say he's a good one.
Yeah.
I did have some issues with how they characterized him. He's supposed to be the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And in this, it's just like he gets killed by telling Wanda Black Bolt's power.
Yeah.
He just kind of, like, his ideas to kind of just stretch and attack her.
Yeah. There
was nothing in it where I'm like, because if you read the comics, he's not only, like, the smartest person in the universe, his intelligence, like, crosses all universes.
Yeah.
Like, his powers aren't what makes him powerful. It's his mind. It's like it transcends all the universes, all the multiverses, all that. Like, it is singular powers. Mm-hmm. His brain is cosmic.
Yeah.
So that was the one where I'm just like, oh, I'm not sure if you're selling me on the smartness of Reed Richards, which is kind of what I need to believe. So it's a hard point for me to just be like, oh yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah.
When I haven't seen that important element of it. With that said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I like John Krasinski a lot. So I'm just like, is it a little too on the nose? It might be. Yeah. It could be. I'm willing to see how it plays out, and I think we are going to see him back. I'd be pretty shocked if he's not. Or Reed Richards.
And if he's not, he's 100% directing. It's like the movie.
Oh,
like, it has to be one or two.
I think he does both.
I think he does both. That'd be great.
But yeah, that was the thing where I remember watching it, and that Illuminati scene kind of just has a few of those issues for me, where I'm just like, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, this feels like setup for a bunch of other things to come down the line. Uh, and that's the interesting thing where I'm like, okay, I like the payoff. I also like a little confused on the payoff. So that's where it just gets a little bit interesting to me, where I'm like that, I don't like that. What do I feel about this total? Ultimately, it's the scene serves its purpose, which is they need to fight Wanda, and she kills them.
Yeah.
And that seems crazy violent. That was the thing that just shocked me the most when watching it. I'm just like, yeah, she kills them in pretty violent fashion.
Yeah, to the black hole, dude.
That's the shocking show.
The way his head looked and his eyes and the way it hit the floor, I was like, oh.
He didn't blow. His brain just straight up and blows on it.
So
I'm just like, that's disgusting.
Yeah. It's like, dang. But
yeah, that was the scene. I told you, I was just like, the fact that we saw Anson Mount back in this role after his infamous run on the Inhumans, I thought if he's been Black Bolt in the movie, he was being recast. I'm like, there's no way they're touching the Inhumans, like even acknowledging the fact that that show existed ever. They're gonna just forget about the show, don't think about it. And they're like, no, they're like, he's Black Bolt.
Yeah, I guess they really like him.
Yeah, I think he's actually a fairly good actor, and I mean, like, he just kind of has to look the part, so he doesn't have to talk really.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he looks at. I mean, I'm so glad in this version they actually gave him the Black Bolt costume. It looks so much better than him just being in black.
Yeah.
Which is what he is in the TV show. That was so yeah, I like that. This film, like I said, that scene does rely really strongly on cameos. Of course, you get LaShawn Lynch back as Maria Rainbow as Captain Marvel. This probably teasing what's going to come in Captain Marvel 2 and maybe even Miss Marvel, all of that. But let's just focusing more on the movie because we actually haven't hit a bunch of the points in the movie yet. What is the scene that like locked you in?
Well, I mean, like from the jump, when he went to the scene where the two multiverses like collided and they were trying to get back and then they had to go find the Doctor Strange that was using Darkhold.
Yes.
That scene where they were fighting with the musical notes. Dude, that scene was so crazy.
It's really cool.
And like that's the type of scene where like if you do that wrong, it looks so dumb. But if you do it right, like they did, it looked incredible.
Yeah, it's perfect sound and design and all that. Because you're just like in theaters, it's pretty blaring. It's a really well done performance from Danielle.
So good. So that scene, like I was like, wow, this is gonna be big. The action is and the visuals of the movie too. Even though they don't dive into the mirror dimension as much as the first one, like the visuals were still off the chart. And it was just crazy to watch and look at and just be in.
Yeah. I thought there was a little bit too much CGI monsters at times where it's just like you have obviously the tentacle beast, the thing at the beginning, stuff at the end. Like it does get a little bit there. So at times it can kind of feel weightless and it is like them fighting against the green screen.
Yeah.
Then there's other things where I'm like, it really works to wonders. Anytime they're really in the multiverse, the zombie effect is when he comes out as basically dead Doctor Strange.
Literally,
it's awesome. It's really cool. It looks really creepy. It's full on Sam Raimi, like embracing the Evil Dead, like him popping his hand out of like the grave, and there's just like big eyes and him like doing all the movements. It's like that's so like over the top. There's even a scene where when Rachel McAdams is fighting the demons.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a scene where she's like grabbing them like by the
camera's
like focusing in on like that, and like that's total like.
I've never seen that movie.
It's an Evil Dead thing because like there's the scenes where the zombies and it's just like cut and it's just the face like going in and out. And like that's Sam Raimi direction right there. So obviously, like all that, and that's what it really does give you a style. And when you're trying to go for a horror movie aesthetic, it's strong to go with the guy who really helped cement some of those horror things. I think the scene for me where I'm just like, I realized like I walked in on this movie, this is like something really special or it's something. It is the scene where Doctor Strange and Wanda are talking in the air right before she invades. Yeah, and it's that scene where she again, it's the scene of exposition. it's her delivery of it, where she's like talking the whole thing, and he's really trying to calm her down and all of this, and she's breaking it all down. Like, and with the end of it, where she just says, "And yet, with this all being said, I'm still showing mercy." And that's the scene where you're just like, this is about to go sideways so quick. Because if this is her being reasonable, what's about to happen?
Well, it's that. Because like when in that whole fight, she's like, I don't know what it is, but she's using those blasters in her hands. That's the only thing she does in the whole fight until like maybe the main characters, obviously. But like when she's attacking with Cartage, like it's just those bolts, and then she uses the one or two other things. But like she could release like, oh my god, like her powers are just like
she could explode. It does really feel she's containing them.
It really
which is the crazy thing about that, like just the way they visualize that. Because you are watching and you are just like, they're not like joking when she says like, I could kill everybody. It's like you probably could. Like this, the fact that like even Wong and Strange are able to fend her off, it's because it doesn't feel like she really has any intention wanting to kill him in that scene.
No.
So it's just like, she's just kind of
stop them, basically.
Yeah. So it's just like, oh my god, unleash. And then we see once she becomes unleashed, like kind of the havoc she wreck. And that's again her being unleashed in a way that's just like she's not fighting anyone that's really challenged. I mean, that's the thing that's so impressive about that Illuminati scene, where it's like she goes against Black Bolt, she just blows his head up. It's fantastic. She just, pulls him apart. Like even Xavier, which is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I think the use of Xavier is really well. I liked how I was talking about, like, I didn't fully like see Krasinski yet as Reed Richards because I didn't get to see the smartness, which is the key to that character. Yeah. That's the exact opposite with Xavier. And of course, he's had like 10 movies to practice exactly and know who Professor X is. Yeah. Because I do like the moment where he's like, let's like, I believe we can trust this Stephen Strange. Yeah, I was about to say like, that's a really good moment. And then like him trying to save Wanda going through her mind, all of that. Those are good moments of characterizing exactly who Xavier is and what he does believe. And that he does believe people have the chance to grow and change. And that like, yes, this one Strange we had is an issue. It was an issue. That doesn't mean this Strange is that. Case, and like I said, where he just like he's in their head. She pulls his head off, like not like just breaks the neck. She like tears his head off and snaps his neck in the real world. You're just like, wow,
there's more power right there.
Yeah, I wish the trailers didn't show him.
I actually agree.
I like you could have shown me Captain Carter, and I would have been fine. You could have even teased the Monica Rambeau just because she was already in WandaVision, not that shocking that she makes it this. Yeah. I really did want the tease on Xavier.
I think they had to tease one of those three characters, the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, Black Bolt, or Xavier.
Yeah.
It just tied in a little bit more of the trailer. Like, oh my god, I need to see this movie.
You're right. It was a marketing technique where like, we need to get people excited for this movie. And who's more exciting than just hearing the voice? It's hard because it's like, obviously I didn't want that because I wanted that review. If the first time I had seen Xavier was hearing his voice and then seeing rolling in, would have lost my mind. Oh my. Yeah. When I heard his voice in the movie, I'm like, okay, it's obviously going to be Xavier. He's about to, because he's going to be in this movie. Yeah. Like, and it's hard because Doctor Strange doesn't quite tell like Spider-Man does. Where Spider-Man, you're able to tease the villains. Yeah. But you don't actually have to see Tobey or Andrew in the trailers. Yeah. This one, you're right. Like marketing, like it probably did add like an extra 20 million. The fact that we heard Xavier's voice,
and even if we heard Krasinski's voice, like let's say they chose to like tease Reed Richards in the trailer, like not a lot of people were Fantastic Four fans compared to X-Men. Like there's two X-Men, okay, three technically Fantastic Four movies. Four.
One in the 90s and already released.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Neither.
But and then the amount of X-Men movies they have, right? So then there's so many. That drags the whole X-Men audience.
You're right. It was the correct thing to do marketing-wise. I wish we really didn't get to see it. And like the thing is, like Black Widow doesn't matter. Yeah. Like it would have been really cool for us. Because like in Plug, like we're like, oh my god, we're bringing back a humans actor Black Bolt. Like what's going on? like who else could be in this movie?
Yeah.
There's stuff like that, and there are clever like cameos throughout this movie. I really like that Ross Market is back voicing Voltron. He voiced him in What If.
Yeah.
Which I obviously he's kind of doing a James Spader impression to a degree, but I like him in the role. He's really good. Billy and Tommy are really good as the child actors. His kids like they're really good. There are like some other points where it's just like interesting, and I really like the actress Xochitl Gomez, who plays America in Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I think she's a really good character.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily like the story around her. She kind of does just become at times either the damsel in distress, or she's, and other times they like take the emotional beats of the Spider-Man character, and they're like, what if we kind of just gave her that relationship with Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
I wish there was a little bit more like characterization between the two. Like I buy their relationship, but I'm like, I buy this relationship because I kind of bought the Spider-Man relationship.
Yeah.
Like that was one of my things going in where again I really like the character.
Yeah.
I really like the character. Shaw was in the movie. I thought the hands did well. I thought the powers looked good, and what she opens up about this is interesting. This is where the nitpicking stuff starts happening, and I see it online, and I'm just like, maybe don't think about it that much.
Yeah.
The line about dreams,
Yeah.
where it's just like, oh, that's you seeing another version of the multiverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it's like you go back to every dream in the MCU where a character brings it up, like Tony Stark having a dream about him having her being pregnant,
Yeah.
and all that. But yeah, it could be.
Nice.
Yeah, all that. It's just like that's where it's just like maybe don't focusing on it on that much. Where it's like, oh yeah, dreams mean this, and then when you go back, it's like you hear about it. Not sure. It never like let's see, you see the first Captain America, first Avenger, and he mentioned something about a dream. That's not it. He's like, oh yeah, that's something to do. It's like no, it's like no, that's kind of a line to explain. It's a MacGuffin in this movie to explain that part of the story. There's aspects like that. I'm trying to think like some of the other big points that I really wanted to hit on this movie. I think one of the most interesting scenes in this movie is the implication of what happens, obviously, with Sinister Strange. Because the movie, again, it's one of these things where you're just like, where are we leaving this movie off? And correct me if I'm wrong, how I understood the ending is that since Doctor Strange used the Darkhold attracted a heavy.
That's what I was going to say too, is because when he was going through that whole phase with the undead, or remember the name?
Yeah, the dams.
The dam, yeah. So the damn souls are like flying around him. They're like, this is going to come at a cost, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the book. And then the book gets destroyed because he uses that. Now that's in him. Now his soul is cursed. So
yeah, that's how I
see it.
Because the first time I'm like, oh, is this like the Sinister Strange kind of possessing him? But then I'm like, but she destroyed all the Darkholds, so she wouldn't be able to time walk unless something else is set up that we'll learn about later. But no, I did see that as the Darkhold.
I did see that the first time, but after I watched it second,
that's how I felt. Second time where I'm like, okay, that's what it's supposed to be. Fine, but the Darkhold to the soul.
Yeah. That's what I see.
And that's where I'm just like, wow. That's another thing with this movie. The first time you watch it, there's just going to be terms around, and you're not going to fully understand those terms.
Yeah.
The Darkhold is one that I know it's mentioned in WandaVision, but they explored much more.
Yeah.
Dreamwalk is another one. I think it's called the Incursion, which is when two multiverse universes collapse in on each other, destroying either both or one, which is something that's in the Secret War. Jonathan Hickman's 2015 Secret Wars issue, like the whole start of that is an incursion happening. So that's where it's like, okay. So there are terms in there, or like even when they're talking about like the book that works as the antithesis for the Darkhold. It's a lot of these terms kind of being thrown at you. And you're like, kind of what's going on? Once you rewatch it again, it is really just like, okay, there's this thing that counteracts this thing, so they're trying to find it, but then when this doesn't work, they have to do this. It is really kind of just as simple as like, they are just terms. they're not as important maybe as they're like trying to believe. Like they obviously have their implications,
Yeah.
but it's not like something where it's like I don't feel like it's overarching as much as like, oh yeah, like the dark holds like for instance, like because I feel like we think this way because of the stones.
Mhm.
Like you're like, oh yeah, like that's the Infinity Stone. That's maybe the Ten Ring. Like, what's this dark hold? I don't think it has that level of implication
No,
in it.
probably not. But it's still, it's big. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the stuff where I'm just like, I think rewatching the second time, that's where those questions kind of got answered. Where I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm thinking too hard.
Yeah.
When really the story is keep away American Chavez
Yeah.
from Wanda.
Yeah.
Is the overall story about this? I'm trying to think if there's any other really big scenes that I really want. I really like Breaking McAdams and Strange's relationship in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's much more fully realized in this movie than it is the first one.
Yeah.
I think it's just I think we're learning much more about Strange, and in that piece, like I like what we learn about Strange in this story, like the fact like he lost his sister,
Yeah.
and that's like kind of is Doctor Strange, like that is a part of him, and across all universes, that seems to be something significant.
common.
Like, it's just one of the things that is that character.
Yeah.
You can't have a Stephen Strange without that moment.
Yeah.
So that stuff like that, where I'm just like, okay, that's really well done. The moments where you're now seeing why the relationship couldn't work because of who Stephen Strange is and him admitting it.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be the one with the knife.
Yeah.
And then, like, him apologizing for him. And then that last line he has with him, where he's like, I love you in every universe. Really sweet, well done line.
Yeah.
All that, like, I think that all really works. The one criticism I did say in my spoiler-free review, and I'm going to backpedal on it a little bit because I don't believe it as much as I did the first time.
Mhm.
I did feel like Doctor Strange got lost in his own movie at times, where it's like there's so much happening
Yeah.
that Doctor Strange kind of becomes a foil to explain like how what's going to happen next happens. Where it's like, okay, we need him to do the portal thing. We need him to do this. We need him to use his powers to get us from here to there.
Mhm.
And it's not that it's not there in this movie. It certainly is there at times.
Yeah.
But it's never feels as like fully present. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. No, 100%. Totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of my big points on this. So let's kind of wrap it up.
Okay.
Just kind of go favorite character in this
Ooh.
movie.
I don't know. It's pretty hard. I think, like I was saying before, I think Wong's like his importance is rising in the MCU. His importance is getting like I feel like he's going to be one of those characters that is really important, but at the same time, like maybe down the line, I'm not sure his story arc in the comics. Maybe he like has a really dramatic death that like saves everyone. And he's one of those characters who's like not really a main, but he's like the second main, and he's like if he dies, it's like oh wow, this is going down. Yeah, it actually has consequences. So I'd say like I mean Wong in the movie is really good, but I just Scarlet Witch.
It's so hard not to save her.
It's just so hard not to choose her. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Favorite scene?
I think the musical note.
Okay.
I think that was pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I think mine is the scene right after, where it's him channeling the Darkhold.
That was
and like him rising up the zombies, and then the damned like taking over.
Yeah.
And just him like where she's like control it, and you see him actually like take a hold of the damned.
Yeah.
And then like the arms and everything like splitting off, and just like him being a zombified like Doctor Strange, like that scene is incredible.
Him flying with the damned to the wings.
Yeah, just all of it, and the visual effects of it, like just so creepy to look at. Like I really like that scene in particular. That was the scene where I watched and like, this is the perfect immersion of Doctor Strange, of the MCU, of the history, and Sam Raimi. All those sensibilities coming together. In a way that like the humor's there because it's like it's so over the top in that scene. Like I said, the Rachel McAdams with the head, but with the spinning and all that. The Doctor Strange, like the huge eye expressions where you're like, like going through it, or his eyes opening, or then the cut of like inside his eyes, all of that. Like all of that is just like wow. And so that's my favorite scene. Out of all the cameos that I said, was there one that you were like, kind of would have been cool? I would like, don't mind that they're not in it, but would have been cool to see them.
I would have. I mean, we just finished Spider-Man: No Way Home, but I think I would have been thrilled to see one of the Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
I think if it was Toby, because Sam Raimi connection, I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I would probably have to say Spider-Man's, but like a Tom Cruise Iron Man, I think that was okay to leave out. I think that was like, okay, cool, good rumor, maybe, but and I think it was good that they only did one X-Men. I mean, I would have loved to see Magneto or even Wolverine, but I feel like Hugh Jackman's probably not coming back, and they would have to find someone perfect, and they're not going to show that 1% or whatever. But I was about to say probably either Andrew or Toby. I think that would be great.
Mine would have been Magneto. Yeah. Just due to the connection that's supposedly her father. Like in comics and in the Fox universe, that's what it is. Like, so in this case, it probably would have definitely needed to be Ian McKellen because Michael Fassbender is too young. And with Xavier already being there, played by Patrick Stewart, it just needs Ian McKellen. That would have been the one where I'm like, okay, that makes sense to the overall story. The one that I was surprised we didn't get, and I still it the first time I watched the movie, I'm like, okay, the post credit scene is going to be, we're actually going to see like Sue Storm is going to be it. That's what I thought for sure. Like they're going to tease it. They have Krasinski. They're going to tease the announcement of Fantastic Four. Instead, we get Charlize Theron as Kate, which is I don't know anything about that character. I like Charlize Theron a lot, so it's like I'm sold on that idea. Yeah, but it's like we're getting her now in it. I'm now trying to think. So yeah, that my favorite scene was that my cameo that I would want is Magneto. Mm-hmm. And finally, last question. What do you want to see next with Doctor Strange? Like
Doctor Strange.
Obviously, what we said will probably not happen. What do you want to see?
I think like his direction of like, I think he's finally over. It's weird to say he's finally over Rachel, or he's finally over his his love interest, Christine, and I feel like I think from what I've watched and what I've heard, Leo is that his love. I think it's his love interest in the comics. And obviously they cut she cut over the magical thing, I don't know what it's called. Like into the Dormammu and that whole like multiverse section. But I think with his like fully, he's got the he's got the soul of the damned in him now. I think his powers are leveling up. Like he's doing the whole WandaVision with Scarlet Witch. Obviously, I don't know if he has that big jump, like different name, different personality, or whatever. But I think his powers are growing, and I feel like now that Scarlet Witch is maybe dead in this universe, in this multiverse, I think he's now the strongest Avenger, or one of the top 3 strongest Avengers. And I feel like he's going to get up there, and he's maybe are they going to make Doctor Strange 3?
I don't think it's announced. I'm sure.
Okay, it probably will happen. Probably Sam. I think that'd be cool.
So yeah, I want another one, obviously. Yeah, I want the powers to be explored because you're right. I feel like the scene where I'm like, this guy's the most powerful Avenger is when he goes to tell Thanos and Infinity War. They're just like, she's doing the carbon copies of himself. He's got like the whole tricks that he's pulling on it. Like all that. That's like the scene where I'm like, this guy is the guy in it. There's an interesting thing with Raimi. It's just like, if they're going 4 or 5 again, they do in this film makes sense.
That's true.
I didn't necessarily like how Raimi did the powers of change. Like it does give me a feel. Like it does give me a very horror feel, like the snake's coming out of his hands. It's a scene where it like Steve Ferris, so it's like we're Benedict crashes the snake coming out. Just like this is a little over the top. So that's how I'm like, ooh, like it kind of depends on which direction. If they're going more of a traditional, he's the most powerful, and they're going to fight the Chizel as Force character, I think it's Moto. Remember, it's not Moto.
Sorry.
It's I'm looking on it, but he's the one that's in the Illuminati. If they're going to bring him, I almost kind of want to see Scott Derrickson back just to kind of see him. But like, there is a chance they bring Raimi. I don't know what they will do. Like I said, you're right. The powers are the one I want to explore, and now that you're kind of believing that now has some sort of effect of the Darkhold, his powers are 10 times more powerful. But I do want to say a little bit more focused on Strange. This one, like, it is his film, but it's also like has to set up another thing. I do kind of want to see like this is a strange, like, movie. And there's ways they can do it. There's this comic book that I was reading called Who Killed Doctor Strange, where basically Doctor Strange dies in one universe, so he possesses another Strange in the multiverse to come back and basically investigate. It's basically a Strange noir thriller. Like, there's aspects of that, but I think that would be cool. That's kind of what I want to see. But with that all said, any final thoughts on Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness?
I think it was a great film, and I totally agree with your statement on, like, it didn't really feel like a Doctor Strange movie. Like, I think it was you or someone else that was saying, like, they could have easily, like, made this, like, 4 episodes at the end of one episode. Like, they could have easily, like, made this movie into, like, maybe 3 or 4 more episodes at the end of WandaVision, and then just had Doctor Strange come in and all this stuff. But, like, I really think, like, focusing, it was really good. It's like maybe more Doctor Strange itself, which is funny because, well, we have like 4 different versions of Doctor Strange, maybe 3. So
I think 4.
Yeah,
4 or 5,
and all of them except our Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I think just overall, like, the visuals of the movie.
Yeah, the visuals.
It just went off the charts. And they had like a good amount of cameos, not too many, not too little. Even a surprise cameo in Black Bolt. Yeah, I think it was a great movie. I think obviously we talked about the marketing wise too with Resurrect, Recollection, but yeah, I honestly just did a great film.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already seen it twice.
Yeah, I largely am sharing the sentiments for your review.
Yeah.
I do want them with where Spider-Man and Doctor Strange go with some of the cameos in there. I don't want that to become the norm.
Yeah.
Like Thor: Love and Thunder, I don't need cameos.
No.
Give me that story. You make those characters, like all those, like if when we're getting Captain Marvel 2, like all that, like just give me those stories. Like, don't give me this every film.
Yeah.
Because at times, like I said, I didn't fully believe the organic nature of it, but again, liked it, liked what they're setting up. They are clearly setting up. It kind of might end up being around where Age of Ultron is for me, where I really like Age of Ultron. In fact, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I defend that movie like crazy. I also understand the criticism where it's like a lot of Age of Ultron is just to set up future installments in the MCU.
Yeah.
And at times, I can totally understand if someone watches this film has the same feelings. But overall, like this movie, had a lot of fun with it. My review didn't change for it. I'm still going to 3 out of 4 stars after seeing it the second time. We'll probably see it again a third time in the year. But yeah, with that all said, that's my review. And now we're going to transition over to a segment highlights called The Great Debate, where we have questions prepared for each other. We're going to ask them of each other, and that will be how we wrap up the show. So, Tony, are you all clear on the rules?
Maybe. Okay. A little review.
Okay, so basically, we prep the question.
Okay.
You'll give your question to me. I'll answer your question. And then if you have an answer for yours, you can give what you thought your answer would be, and then I'll give you my question. Same with it. That's all we in the show. So, do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so my question for you was, we now have what we believe is probably going to be Reed Richards in the MCU.
Yeah.
Cast out the other 3 with a Doctor Doom.
With a Doctor Doom.
With a Doctor Doom.
Ooh, this is hard. I think I'm gonna say just because like I feel like there's so many people that they could pick for Reed Richards. Obviously, we were gonna who we have.
Yeah, I'm keeping Krasinski.
Yeah, I think. Have you seen Outer Banks? It's a TV show on Netflix.
No, I have not.
There's a main actor in the movie. I think he's around 23, 24, 25. I think he fits the profile exactly. His name's Chase Stokes. He fits the exact profile as the Human Torch. I think he would be great. He's got the face. He's got the body build. I think he would be really good like Human Torch. Obviously, they could bring back, obviously not Chris Evans, but I think that'd be great. Like if he tease that at one point or something, maybe mention it. Not mention it, but like just at some point that'd be
subtle joke.
Yeah, subtle joke or something. Yeah, so I would have to say Chase Stokes. You can look him up, picture of him later or whatever, but I think he's pretty cool. Next, I'd probably, just if we're on the John Krasinski, I'd probably say Emily Blunt, just as like,
Yeah. I have the same.
Oh, you do? Okay.
That's mine. That was mine for Emily Blunt.
Yeah, I just like they're married in real life, right? So I think that could easily work. You could direct, he would direct, he would also star, and she's in it too. And then, gosh, I don't know who. Doctor Doom could just be any really good actor that has a really good villain voice, if that makes sense. Like I'm trying to think of someone.
Yeah, no, some of these are harder. I'm sitting there too. Like who do I cast as who?
Yeah,
where?
I'm not sure. I feel like you could go someone that maybe I don't know, Doctor Doom, but also for the last Fantastic Four,
which is the thing, which is kind of a hard one too.
That's a hard one. I want to say, I kind of want to say someone that works well with. This Johnny Storm is the Human Torch's name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so someone that works well with him, like that can bounce off like comedic value, like in the first two Fantastic Fours. I don't remember the other actor's name that played the Thing, but Chris Evans and
Michael.
Yes, they were really good at bouncing off. Like, they had the whole comedic thing. So someone that can like rival with my actor choice of Chase Stokes, someone that could like rival with him and like have that really good comedic like partnership, I guess. So I'm not sure who that could be. But I don't want it to be like fully like two-sided, because like right now you'd have like Human Torch and the Thing like having their thing, and then you have Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, right? So it kind of seems like there's 2 and 2, and then just like 1 and 4. But I'm not sure. But yeah, so Doctor Doom, definitely someone with a good villain voice, and someone's got a good face, like a good like serious face that could rival.
I was thinking Mads Mikkelsen, but then he's the villain. First Doctor Strange.
The first person that popped in my head was Mads Mikkelsen.
Because here's how I went. I'm like, okay, James Bond villains recently.
Yeah.
That's where my head instantly went. I'm like, Javier Bardem's too old. But then I'm like, Mikkelsen, do it. And then I'm like, just do it in the first.
You know who else would be, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if his face will fit this profile, but I'm spacing on his name. The actor who plays Voldemort.
Roughly.
Yes. I think he's got a good villain. He could have a good villain face. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the age is the only thing.
The age.
It's the hard thing, too, because I'm just like, crap. They have to kind of be like 30, 40, like late 30s, early 40s.
But yeah, I think that could be a good 5. But
I have a few. So again, you hit it on the head. I think if Krasinski is Reed, it's just kind of assumed. Emily Blunt is that Sue Storm.
Yeah,
like that just kind of seems like the way they're going to do it.
Yeah.
For Johnny Storm, a Human Torch, I had Alden Ehrenreich.
That's a good one.
He's the good guy who played Solo.
Chase Stokes kind of looks like him too. Actually.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I went him because I'm like, you do need that flyboy kind of attitude, and I think Solo gets a little maligned, and I think he's really good in the movie. He's just has to be compared to Han Solo. So that's why I'm like, I think he brings that energy and style that I'm looking for. The Thing was one that I kind of didn't know how to do because it's such a voice actor.
It really is.
So it's just like, because then I'm like, okay, Clancy Brown makes sense. Then I'm like, he's also like too old to play it when he's Johnny. Not Johnny, when he's the Thing before he becomes it. So that was the one where I'm just like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Balance. So I think it is ultimately you kind of have to give someone more voice actor style. I was trying to think of anybody who could do it, and I really didn't know who the guy was. That's why I was like, the thing with him, like the Thing was the one that was most possible. So I ended up just going someone that had the voice.
Yeah.
And like I think he's a former football player in the comics.
Yeah.
So I needed someone like that who's big that kind of matches up with that. So I said Terry Crews. Just I think the voice is there. I don't necessarily even know if I like that casting. I have a feeling. I thought more about it. I could have done a little bit better. Yeah. But for villain, I'm just going to put Terry Crews.
I definitely like the bald aspect. Like the actor has to be bald because then obviously he's literally just rocks.
Agreed.
So I think the whole bald, like when they nailed that on the coffin the first 2. Fantastic.
I'm looking around, like, is there anyone else that I can just think of real quickly? But now, Doctor Doom, again, a hard one. I wanted to see someone play a villain. Wanted to see him play a villain. He played a villain in a DC movie, and he's good in it. The movie's a mess. And then I'm like, okay, who would one pair well with these actors, their age and all that?
Yeah.
On Pedro Pascal. I did. I like him as an actor a ton.
Yeah.
I think he can do even more menacing. Doctor Doom is supposed to be more of a foreigner because he has his own country.
Yeah.
All of that. That's where I'm just like, I guess the accent, like, I think there's a part of me that believes, like, one, I believe him and Krasinski could be friends.
Yeah.
That's because that's an important thing. You're supposed to believe that they had a kinship at one point, a friendship.
Yeah.
So I think that's there, and I think he could pull off the menacing intelligence really well. So I did go Pascal.
Yeah.
Kind of close it off. So that's my question. So, sir, what is your question?
I would say my question, kind of stemming off of next movie / show, next something that they could be teasing. I haven't heard any rumors. I haven't heard any teases. But I kind of want to hear what you're thinking because this wasn't like thought about until this movie came out. Do you think that they remake or continue or do something to like bring back the Inhumans? Do you think that they remake the show? Do you think they make a movie? Do you think they'll try and delete as much as they can from that show and they try and remake something?
So I started watching the Inhumans after this movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, maybe I should just refresh on it. I've never seen the show.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like, because I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I told you the biggest cameo I was surprised about was the fact that Marvel acknowledged the Inhumans, like the TV show existed, and didn't just try to write that off. Like they're trying, like it seems like they might be trying to do with Iron Fist.
Yeah.
With that said, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I think it's a tease. I definitely think it's a tease for more to come. I think that actor's become a little bit more well regarded. He's in Star Trek now.
Yeah.
He's the captain in the newest Star Trek show. So like in that case, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. He's a little bit more well liked. They're going the comic accurate like route with him.
100%.
Like Feige wasn't someone who, from my understanding, was particularly involved with the TV show. Now it seems like he would probably be.
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting thing about it. Originally, the Inhumans was supposed to be a movie. And when they announced Phase 2, it was supposed to take place, I think, right after Avengers Age of Ultron.
All the way back to Phase 2, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like 2016, I think. 2016, 2017. It was supposed to be before Black Panther. I remember the huge announcement Feige made in like 2014, 2015. And they have like the Inhumans, and it was supposed to be a movie. Then they shifted it to a TV show, and then what happens with the TV show happens.
Yeah.
So I feel like Feige wants a movie out of it more than he wants a TV show out of it.
I probably agree.
So I think we're going to see the Inhumans, and that's the interesting thing. Do you give them a movie? Do you give them just a supporting role in a thing? I think they're going to basically kind of retcon the show for the most part.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can cast some of those actors as the Inhumans again.
I think the only good one is probably Black Widow.
Yeah, I kind of like the main girl, but she's also a little hit and miss. And the wig on her is terrible, so that's also hard work to tell. So I think we're going to get the Inhumans movie, is my guess. With him, I think he is the consistent in it. I do agree that he is the consistent.
I agree.
I don't know, though. Like, I really don't know. I don't think it's a one-off. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm pretty positive is that Black Bolt cameo is not a one-off.
I totally agree. Yep.
What it means, though, I do not know. I mean, they could even just try, just kind of like they exist, and like maybe they're in like X-Men.
Yeah,
something like that.
I feel like bringing that actor back is like one of two things. Like they could be bringing it back just because it's another character that someone will know. Like, oh my god, he's in the Inhuman show. Even if that was a bad show, like you're still like, oh my god, I know who that is. Because if they had brought back Black Bolt with a different actor that no one had seen before, it would have been like,
and like, what are we doing with it?
Exactly. You could do that, or like if you're bringing back the same actor that's the same actor from the show. To tease that they're either making a movie with him, or maybe they're just acknowledging it and that he's going to be in other movies. Maybe just him, or maybe maybe in like a movie or show he can tell us that like this is his family and this is his whatever, but he really can't talk. So that's an issue.
I think I think he's going to be in it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a movie.
Yeah.
Because that's, like I said, Feige wanted the movie originally, and then they changed the plans to a TV show. Then it was run by, I think his name's Perlman. He's the guy who ran the TV things, and they didn't. Feige and him didn't agree, so that kind of just got an issue. So I think Feige's decision is that it's a movie. So that would be my guess. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Like, this could have been the last time we see Black Hole, and I wouldn't bet against that either.
Yeah.
So if someone like told me like, oh yeah, that's the last time you see Black Hole, I wouldn't be like, that's shocking.
Yeah.
Like Reed Richard, obviously. We know the movie's coming out true. There's no way you don't play off of what happens.
It's a big character.
Like, that's a big character initiation. It's like, arguably, that's maybe the biggest like reveal they've had of a character joining the MCU.
Yeah.
Period. Because other ones like Spider-Man, they tease him at the end of Ant-Man. We don't see him. And like we know he's coming in Captain America Civil War when we saw that movie, we knew he was coming.
Yeah.
This one is straight up. Same with Captain Marvel. We knew Captain Marvel gets teased in Infinity War. We don't see her till around actual spin-off movie. This one is like, no, like you see Mr. Fantastic in this movie, and that's like the addition of Reed Richards has huge implications for not only Universe 616, but the multiverse as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on it. Yeah. With that all said, thank you for joining me today on the show. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys for listening to this episode of the spoiler review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. My name is Ben from Branson. Myself, thank you for checking in. Thank you for watching this show. Make sure to follow the Metaverse on YouTube, Instagram, all of that, and check me out because I'll be having some more reviews coming out soon, as well as some articles coming out soon for Highbrow Magazine. So thank you guys for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.